New York City, 3:47 a.m. The sky was a bruised purple, streaked with fading stars, as the first lights of Manhattan blinked awake. In the heart of the Upper East Side, a sleek black limousine idled at the curb of a towering glass and steel mansion. The driver, a man in a crisp navy uniform, stood by the open door, hat in hand, waiting. Inside the mansion, on the third floor, a bedroom glowed with cold blue light. A boy 17 years old, with tousled dark hair and tired eyes, sat hunched over a desk littered with textbooks, empty coffee cups, and crumpled papers. His name was Ethan Cross. On the screen in front of him, a red F flashed like a warning siren. Another failed test. Another failure. Ethan dropped his head into his hands. His breath came in short, sharp bursts. His fingers trembled. The weight of expectation pressed down on him like a stone. Across the hall, in a bedroom twice the size of a basketball court, his father, Victor Cross, the billionaire CEO of Cross Industries, was already upon a video call with Tokyo, voice booming through the walls like thunder. Ethan's grades are unacceptable, Victor had said the night before, not even looking at his son. You're a Cross. You don't fail, you win. But Ethan didn't feel like a winner. He felt like a ghost. He had everything the world said a boy should want: private tutors, designer clothes, a penthouse suite, a black AMG parked in the garage. But none of it mattered, because every test, every exam, every quiz. He failed. Not because he didn't try. He tried so hard. He studied until 3 a.m. He memorized formulas, dates, definitions. He took practice tests until his vision blurred. But when the real test came, his mind went blank. Like a light switch turned off. Panic. That was the real enemy. Not the material. Not the teachers. Not even his father. It was the fear. The crushing, suffocating fear of not being good enough. And it had followed him since childhood. Asterisk. Later that morning, St. Augustine Prep. 8:15 a.m. Asterisk. Ethan walked through the marble halls of St. Augustine, one of the most elite private schools in the country. Students in blazers and loafers chatted in clusters, laughing about ski trips to Aspen and summer homes in the Hamptons. Ethan kept his head down. He wore the same uniform navy blazer, gold crest, pressed slacks, but he didn't belong. Not really. At lunch, he sat alone in the corner of the cafeteria, picking at a salad he wouldn't eat. Across the room, a group of seniors snickered. Cross bombed another chem test. One said, loud enough to carry, "How does a guy with a private tutor still fail?" Laughter. Ethan clenched his jaw. His chest tightened. He didn't look up. He COULDN single quotes T. Later, in the hallway, his history teacher, Mr. Langston, stopped him. "Ethan," he said gently, "I've reviewed your work. You understand the material. I've seen your essays. You're smart, but your test scores, they don't reflect that." Ethan swallowed. "I know. Is it anxiety?" Ethan didn't answer. He didn't need to. Mr. Langston sighed. "There are resources. Counseling. Mindfulness. Maybe you should." "I've tried." Ethan cut in, voice low. "Therapists, meditation, pills. Nothing works." The teacher nodded, pity in his eyes. And pity was worse than anger, because pity meant he was already written off. That night, 11:22 p.m., Ethan sat in the school's East Wing bathroom, the one rarely used, tucked behind the old auditorium. The tiles were cracked. The light flickered. He stared at his reflection. Tired eyes, pale skin, a boy who looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. He splashed cold water on his face. Then, he noticed movement in the mirror. Behind him, the door creaked open. An older man stepped in, wearing a gray janitor's uniform, black shoes scuffed at the toes, a mop and bucket in hand. He was tall, with deep brown skin, silver-streaked hair, and calm. Knowing eyes. His name tag read, Samuel. Samuel didn't say anything at first. He just started cleaning the sink, wiping away toothpaste, smears and water rings. Ethan turned to leave. But then Samuel spoke soft, like gravel, wrapped in velvet. "You're here late, son." Ethan paused. "Couldn't sleep." Samuel nodded, mind racing. Ethan looked back at him. "Yeah, test tomorrow." Ethan nodded. Samuel kept wiping. "You know, I used to clean this school when your father was a boy." Ethan turned fully now. "You knew my dad." "Knew him. I watched him. Same hallways, same pressure, same fear." Ethan frowned. "My dad's never afraid." Samuel chuckled. "That's what he wanted everyone to believe." He paused, looked at Ethan. You carry the same weight, don't you? Ethan didn't answer, but his eyes said everything. Samuel set the rag down. Your father failed his first 3 college entrance exams, he said quietly. Ethan blinked. What failed? Every one. Sat, act, the works. Dropped out of prep school for a year. Lived in a basement in Queens. Working nights at a diner. Ethan stared. That's not what people say. People only see the end. Samuel said, not the fall. He leaned on the mop. You'd think being rich means you never struggle. That's a lie. The weight's heavier when everyone expects you to fly. Ethan's throat tightened. Samuel studied him. You're not broken, Ethan. You're just stuck. Ethan looked down. I don't know how to get unstuck. Samuel smiled just a little. Maybe you're asking the wrong people for help. And with that, he picked up his bucket and walked out, leaving Ethan standing there, the flickering light casting long shadows on the cracked tile. Midnight. The empty hallway. Ethan didn't go home, instead. He wandered the quiet halls, past trophy cases and portraits of past headmasters. He found himself in the old auditorium, dusty dim seats covered in plastic. On the stage, a single spotlight glowed. And there, in the front row, sat Samuel, not clinking, just sitting. Ethan approached slowly. You come here often? Ethan asked. Samuel smiled. Used to, when I needed to think. Ethan sat beside him. Silence. Then Samuel said, you know, I wasn't always a janitor. Ethan looked at him. I was a teacher. High school physics. Taught for 15 years. Had a wife. A daughter. A house in Brooklyn. His voice softened. Then, the cancer came. Took my wife. Took our savings. I lost the house. Lost the job. School said I was unreliable after missing too many days. Ethan's chest ached. I had to start over, Samuel said. At 52, I was mopping floors in the same school where I once taught. He turned to Ethan. But you know what I learned? Ethan shook his head. That sometimes, the people who seem the lowest, have the most to teach. Ethan looked at him. Why are you telling me this? Samuel leaned forward. Because I see you, and I see the storm in your eyes. The same storm I saw in your father's before he ran from it. Ethan swallowed. I don't want to run. Then stay, Samuel said. And let me show you something. He stood, walked to the edge of the stage, and pulled a small wooden box from under a seat. Inside was a single, worn notebook. He handed it to Ethan. Ethan opened it. Handwritten pages. Notes, diagrams, equations. And at the top of the first page, the one secret. Ethan looked up. What is this? Samuel smiled. The secret your father never learned. The one I almost forgot. He placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Meet me here tomorrow, after school, and I'll teach you what no tutor, no therapist, no billionaire father ever could. Ethan held the notebook. For the first time in years, he felt a flicker of hope. Asterisk, asterisk, to be continued. St. Augustine, Prep 2 4:17 p.m. The final bell rang, and students poured into the halls, laughing, shouting, rushing to sports practice or luxury cars waiting outside. Ethan lingered, backpack heavy, heart heavier. He took the back stairs, dimly lit, rarely used, down to the basement level. This part of the school was old. Pipes ran along the ceiling. The air smelled of damp concrete and cleaning solution. At the end of the hall, a single door stood ajar. A faint glow spilled from within. Ethan pushed it open. Inside was a small, forgotten room. Once a storage closet, now a makeshift office, a folding table, a chair, a single lamp, shelves lined with old textbooks, brooms, and boxes. And there, sitting at the table, was Samuel. He looked up. You came. Ethan nodded. I brought the notebook. Samuel smiled. Good. Now close the door. Ethan did. Samuel reached under the table and pulled out 2 paper cups and a thermos. Coffee, he asked. Ethan hesitated. You drink coffee this late? I live late, Samuel said with a chuckle. Keeps the ghosts away. He poured 2 cups, handed one to Ethan. They sat in silence for a moment. The only sound, the distant hum of the school's HVAC system. Then Samuel said, Tell me what happens right before the test. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? When you sit down, the test is handed out. The clock starts. What's the first thing you feel? Ethan looked down. My chest gets tight, like someone's squeezing it. And your thoughts? They race. Then stop. Like my brain just shuts off. Samuel nodded slowly. Classic freeze response. Not failure. Survival. Ethan looked up. Survival. Your body thinks you're in danger, Samuel said. Same as if a lion were chasing you. It doesn't know the difference between a life or death threat and a math test when the stakes feel life or death. Ethan exhaled. So, I'm not weak. You're human, Samuel said. And you've been trained to believe that failure is the end of the world. But it's not. It's just a step. He opened the notebook. On the first page, in bold handwriting, asterisk, asterisk, the secret. You are not your mind. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan read it. What does that mean? Samuel leaned forward. Most people think their thoughts are them. That if they think I'm going to fail, then failure is inevitable. But thoughts are just noise. Like radio static. He tapped Ethan's temple. You're not the voice. You're the listener. Ethan blinked. So, I'm not my thoughts. Exactly, Samuel said. You're the awareness behind them. The quiet space where truth lives. He flipped to the next page. A simple exercise. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. Try it, Samuel said. Right now, Ethan hesitated. Okay, 5 things I can see. He looked around. The lamp, the table, the coffee cup, the notebook, your shoes, for things you can touch, the chair, my jeans, the cup, my watch. 3 things you can hear, the hum, your breathing, my heartbeat. 2 things you can smell, coffee, dust. 1 thing you can taste, the coffee. Samuel smiled. Now, how's your chest? Ethan paused. It wasn't tight anymore. It's okay. That, Samuel said, is you coming back to your body, to the now, not the past, not the future. Just this. Ethan stared at him. That's it. That's the first key, Samuel said. You can't think your way out of fear. You have to feel your way out. He closed the notebook. Tomorrow, I'll teach you the second part. Ethan stood. Why are you doing this? Samuel looked at him, eyes deep. Because no one helped me when I was drowning. I don't want that for you. He paused. And because your father never learned this. He spent his life running from fear. Built an empire to prove he wasn't weak. But he never faced it. Ethan swallowed. Did he ever thank you? Samuel smiled sadly. No, but that's not why I did it. The next day, 3:50 p.m., Ethan arrived early. Samuel was already there, writing in the notebook. Ready? He asked. Ethan nodded. Samuel flipped to a new page. Asterisk, asterisk, the mirror exercise. Asterisk, asterisk, he pulled a small hand mirror from his pocket. Look at yourself, he said. Ethan did. He saw tired eyes, pale skin. A boy who looked like he hadn't smiled in months. Now say, I see you. Ethan hesitated. I see you. Again, louder. I see you. Samuel nodded. Now say, I'm here with you. Ethan's voice cracked. I'm here with you. Tears WELLED. Samuel didn't flinch. Say it again. And mean it. Ethan took a breath. I'm here with you. And suddenly, something broke. A sob escaped. Then another. Ethan dropped the mirror, covered his face, and wept. All the pressure, all the fear, all the loneliness it poured out. Samuel didn't speak, didn't touch him. Just sat, a quiet presence, in the dim room. After minutes, Ethan looked up, face wet. I'm so tired, he whispered. I know, Samuel said, but you're not alone anymore. He handed him a tissue. That mirror. It's not about vanity. It's about witnessing yourself. Most people spend their lives avoiding their own reflection. But healing starts when you finally see who's been carrying the pain. Ethan wiped his face. I didn't know it was this hard. It's supposed to be, Samuel said. Growth isn't comfortable. It's necessary. He stood. Tomorrow, the real test. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Samuel smiled. You'll see. The next morning, 7:00 a.m. Ethan arrived at school before anyone. He walked to the auditorium. On the stage, a single envelope sat under the spotlight. He opened it. Inside, a practice SAT test, and a note. Asterisk, asterisk, take it now. No prep, no fear, just you and the page. And remember, you are not your mind. Asterisk, asterisk, Ethan sat. Heart pounding. He opened the test. First question, he froze. Then he remembered. Asterisk, 5 things I can see. Asterisk, the light, the paper, the pen, the stage, the curtain. For things I can touch. The chair, his shirt, the pen, his knee, his breath. Slowed, he began. He didn't finish every question, but he finished. And for the first time, he didn't panic. He walked out, test in hand, and found Samuel mopping near the gym. Samuel didn't ask how it went. He just nodded, and Ethan knew something had changed. Asterisk, asterisk, to be continued. 1 week later, 9:15 p.m. Ethan sat in the basement room. The notebook open, practicing the grounding exercise. Samuel watched, sipping coffee. "You're getting better," he said. Ethan smiled faintly. "Still failed the chem quiz. But you didn't panic," Samuel pointed out. Ethan nodded. "I stayed. I finished. That's something." "It's everything," Samuel said. "Progress isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You circle back, but higher each time." He flipped to a new page in the notebook. Asterisk, asterisk, the third key. The power of small wins. Asterisk, asterisk, tell me, Samuel said. "What's one tiny thing you did today that felt like a win?" Ethan thought. "I made my bed." Samuel grinned. "Perfect. That's a win. Write it down." Ethan did. "Now tomorrow, write 2. Then 3. Small wins build momentum. They remind your brain, I am capable." Ethan looked at him. "You really believe that?" "I know it," Samuel said. "I rebuilt my life one small win at a time. One clean floor. One honest day. One sunrise I chose to face." He paused, "But the real test is coming." Ethan tensed. The empty Samuel nodded. "Next Saturday. You ready?" Ethan hesitated. "I don't know." "That's okay," Samuel said. "Fear doesn't mean you're not ready. It means you care." Friday, 6:30 p.m. Ethan walked into the mansion. Victor was in the study, on another call. Ethan approached. "Dad, I wanted to talk." Victor held up a finger. "One sec, Ethan. I'm closing a $200 million deal." Ethan waited. 5 minutes passed. Finally, Victor hung up. "What?" "I'm taking the SAT on Saturday." Victor barely looked up. "Good. You better score 1,500 or higher. We need that number for Harvard." Ethan's stomach dropped. "What if I don't?" "Then you're not a cross," Victor said coldly. "We don't make excuses. We make results." Ethan stood there, heartbreaking. He turned and left upstairs. He stared at the notebook. "You are not your mind." But right now, his mind was screaming, "You're not enough." Asterisk, asterisk. Saturday, 7 a.m., the testing center. Asterisk, asterisk. Ethan sat in a cold classroom, surrounded by strangers. The proctor handed out the tests. Ethan's hands trembled. He looked down. Asterisk. 5 things I can see. Asterisk. The desk. The pencil. The clock. The wall. The door. 4 things I can touch. The chair. His pants. The test. His wrist. His breath slowed. He began. But halfway through, a thought pierced through. Asterisk. You're failing. You're failing. You're failing. Asterisk. He froze. His chest tightened. The room spun. He wanted to run. Then he remembered Samuel's voice. "You are not your mind." He closed his eyes. Asterisk. "I see you. I'm here with you." Asterisk. He opened his eyes. Kept going. When time was called, he handed in the test. He didn't know how he did, but he finished. Asterisk. Asterisk. 2 weeks later, 4 p.m. Asterisk. Asterisk. Ethan sat in the basement room, staring at his phone. The email had just arrived. SAT score report. Ethan cross. He didn't open it. Samuel sat beside him. "You don't have to look alone." Ethan took a breath, clicked. Score. 1320, not 1,500, but higher. Much higher. He looked at Samuel, tears in his eyes. "I did it," he whispered. Samuel smiled. "You are it." That night, the mansion. Ethan walked in, holding the printout. Victor was at dinner, on his tablet. Ethan placed the score on the table. Victor glanced. 1320. Not bad, but Harvard wants 1450. Ethan's heart sank. But then something shifted. He stood tall. "Dad," he said, voice steady. "I used to fail every test. I couldn't sleep. I thought I was broken, but I'm not. I faced my fear. I kept going, and I improved." Victor looked up, surprised. "That score," Ethan said. "It's not just a number. It's proof that I'm healing." Victor stared. Then, slowly, he nodded. "I didn't know," he said quietly. "I thought you just weren't trying." Ethan looked at him. "Maybe you should talk to Samuel. He knew you when you were my age." Victor's face changed. "Samuel, the janitor." Ethan nodded. Victor stood. "Where is he?" Asterisk. Asterisk. To be continued. St. Augustine, 2:07 a.m. Victor Cross walked through the school halls. A man out of place. He found Samuel mopping near the east wing. Samuel looked up. For a long moment, they just stared. Then Victor said, "You remember me?" Samuel nodded. Victor Cross. 1989. Failed 3 SATs. Lived in a basement. Worked at Joe's diner. Victor swallowed. You helped me. I listened. Samuel said. That's all. Victor looked around. I never came back. Never thanked you. Samuel shrugged. Didn't need thanks. Just wanted you to make it. Victor's voice cracked. I built an empire. Billions. But I never faced the fear. I buried it in work, in money, in power. He looked at Samuel. My son. He's been carrying the same weight. Samuel nodded. Now he's learning to carry it differently. Victor stepped closer. Teach me. Samuel smiled. It's never too late. That night, the basement room, Victor sat across from Samuel. A cup of coffee in hand. Ethan watched from the doorway. Samuel guided Victor through the grounding exercise, then the mirror. I see you, Victor whispered, staring at his reflection. I'm here with you. He broke down. Years of pressure, pride, loneliness. It all fell. Ethan stepped in, placed a hand on his father's shoulder. Victor looked up, tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, he said. Ethan pulled him into a hug. And for the first time in decades, the Cross family felt whole. 1 year later, graduation day, Ethan stood on stage, valedictorian of his class. He looked out at the crowd. His father sat in the front row, smiling, really smiling, and in the back, near the doors, stood Samuel. Ethan cleared his throat. Most people think success is about grades, money, titles, he said. But I learned something different. I learned that the strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who, when they fall, are kind to themselves, who ask for help, who listen to the quiet voices, the ones society ignores. I failed every test. Until a janitor taught me one secret. You are not your mind. You are the quiet observer. The one who stays when the world says run. And that is true strength. He looked at Samuel. And to the man who taught me that, thank you. The crowd turned. Samuel smiled, tears in his eyes. He gave a small nod. The audience erupted in applause. Asterisk, asterisk. Epilogue. 6 months later, asterisk, asterisk. Samuel stood in a classroom. Not as a janitor, as a guest lecturer. The school had created a new program, Mind and Resilience, co-founded by Ethan Cross. Samuel taught students the secret. One boy raised his hand. What if no one believes in me? Samuel smiled. Then be the first.